Hey guys, and welcome to episode number 14, where we will finally add enemies, or in this case zombies, to our project. And so I added here also this wall, as you can see, and the zombies do not simply just walk through the wall, but they try to find a path around this obstacle. And of course we can also shoot them. For now they just simply disappear, but still everything is working. They chase us, we can shoot them. And there we go. So we are going to do all of that in today's episode. So to get started, make sure to head over to the asset store and then simply search for zombie. Okay, like so. And then here on the right side, you can also choose free assets. And then you want to make sure to choose or select the first result here. So the zombie from Pixel Tiger. And then simply download that and then also import that to your project, just like I do here. Guess this will not take that long. All right, so I got my zombie inside my project. And then let's head over to our scene, like so. And then it's over to zombie and prefabs, and as you can see we get 3 different models, I guess, with this package, which is pretty awesome, especially considering that this is all for free. And so we can then drag and drop the zombie to our scene, just like so. And then I guess I would just hit play quickly to check if the scales are right compared to our player. And that seems to be the case. And as you can see, our zombies playing all these random animations here that are coming with this package. So again, it's pretty awesome considering that that this package is completely for free. So props to Pixel Tiger for offering that. And yeah, right now our zombie is just standing still and playing all of these animations. That's because there's a controller attached to the zombie, so we will take care of that later on. For now, if I shoot the zombie, you see nothing happens. Of course, we have to add a few lines of code in order to make this work. Now I will also create here a new 3D object, and this will be a cube. And then let's move the cube here to the left side, and then I will scale the cube up a little bit, like so. Okay. There we go. Something like that. And make sure it sits just slightly above the, or at the top of our ground. Doesn't need to be exactly above our ground, but just make sure it's not floating in the air, okay? And then we can rename that to wall. Okay, and the next thing I also want to do is to click here on assets and just drag and drop the zombie here to the asset window and then click on original prefab. Then I will remove the zombie from our scene and just drag and drop the new created zombie prefab to our scene. And in fact, we can also move the zombie to our prefab folder. Seems like I already did that, so I will remove that zombie from there and redo this here. There we go. Okay, now when it comes to pathfinding and stuff like that, there's a lot of theory going on behind all of that. So if you want to learn more about that, make sure to check out especially A-star pathfinding, since it's the most common used algorithm when it comes to objects chasing another object or finding a path to a specific object. There's a lot of theory behind it, like I said, and it's also something I want to learn more about. And yeah, there are also more simpler ways to implement a very simple system so that an object chases you, but I guess A-star pathfinding is the way to go if you want to have a more realistic behavior. But with all of that, since Unity offers the NavMeshAgent, which is basically a pathfinding tool right inside Unity, and it has a great API and it's really easy to use actually, and you can recreate realistic behaviors with that in just a matter of like a few hours, I would say. And it also has a great documentation. So yeah, we will use NavMeshAgent for our project. So let's get started. So the first thing we need to do is to select our ground. Okay, and then let's head over to Window and then to AI, and then make sure to select navigation like so. Okay, and because I played around with that a little bit, I guess I have to, okay, I don't have to do anything here. All right, so here inside the navigation tab, you see we have first off the ability to use agents. This is basically a way to set up obstacles. So for example, if you have stairs in your level, you can basically tell here the agent on which kind of obstacles it can walk on. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Then the area tab is not that important for now. So you can basically define areas if they're walkable or not walkable and things like that. And then inside the bake option, you can set the radius around objects that should be avoided. And you will see this in just a moment, and other stuff as well. Now, before we actually bake our map, let's select the zombie itself. Click here on Inspector, then Add Component, and then we want to add the NavMeshAgent. And as you can see with the NavMeshAgent, we get a bunch of different values that we can play around, and we will do this in just a moment. So we have, for example, the speed value, where we can set up the speed and the acceleration, stopping distance, and things like that. Pretty awesome stuff. And then we also have here the obstacle avoidance options. And as you can see, since we have attached the NavMeshAgent to our zombie, we have now this green collider around our zombie, which is the obstacle avoidance collider. So we can decrease here a little bit the height, and also make the radius a little bit smaller, so that fits a little bit more our zombie. And make sure to save that. And so if I hit now play, you will see nothing will happen. Okay, our zombie will still stand still and play all of these animations randomly, and that's it. Okay, so let's head over here to the navigation tab again, and then click here on object, and then make sure to select the ground. Okay, and you can see that we have selected here the ground because we get here the ground mesh render, and then make sure to have navigation static selected. And then down here at the navigation area, you see that we can choose between 3 options for now: walkable, not walkable, and jump. So I want to use walkable, and then let's head over to bake and click here simply on bake. And now when I click here on show nav mesh, you see that we have now this blue layer around or above our ground. And this blue layer basically indicates that this area is walkable for our NavMeshAgent. Again, if I hit play, still nothing will happen because we don't have added any code to our enemy. So we still need to tell the NavMeshAgent to do something. Okay, the last thing that I want to talk about before we finally add code to our enemy so that the enemy starts chasing us is obstacles and avoidance and stuff like that. Right now, our zombie would just walk through that wall, okay? And that's because we just baked the entire area, as you can see. Okay, so if I move the wall here up, you see it's all blue, okay? So that indicates our NavMeshAgent can just walk through there. So what we need to do is we need to tell the navigation in Unity that it should avoid this. Okay, this should be a not walkable mesh. And in order to do that, all we have to do is to select the wall, click here on object again, then make sure to select navigation static, and then simply select not walkable. And then we need to rebake that. And as you can see, there is now a radius around this wall. Okay, so it will avoid basically this specific area here, and that means that our NavMeshAgent will be no longer able to walk just through that, but will just stop here right at this edge. Okay, and these values here, the agent radius and agent height and stuff like that, are determining how far the radius should be around an object that should be avoided. Okay, so you can play around with these settings, but oftentimes, as you can see, these are pretty accurate. Okay, we don't really need to change here anything. Alright, so with that being said, let's save everything. And then let's head over to zombie and to the inspector, and then let's click here on add components, new script, and let's simply call it enemy. And let's open that up. And then let's first off get a reference to our NavMeshAgent, so make sure to import the library. And then here at the top we can simply say private and then NavMeshAgent, and then we just call it NavAgent, and then NavAgent will be equal to get component NavMeshAgent. Okay. Alright, and then inside the update methods, and by the way, you can always head over to the Unity documentation and check out the script and API for the NavMeshAgent. Here you will find all these functions and comments you can use for the NavMeshAgent, and it's pretty much straightforward. So back to our script. Here we will say NavAgent set the destination to the target position. And the target will be simply our player, and I guess for that I will use serialized fields. So target, and target will be equal to GameObject find player, GameObject transform. Alright. So with that, our zombie should be already chasing us. Okay. It would look a little bit weird since it's playing all of these animations randomly, but the object itself should chase us. And that's the case. As you can see, our zombie is following us, and the zombie is also avoiding the wall, as you can see, which is pretty awesome. So for wait here a moment, there we go, there's our zombie. Now if I try to shoot the zombie, you see nothing happens. That's because we haven't implemented any logic behind all of that. So I will save here the scene. And then let's take care of the animator. Okay, so here let's click on the controller at the zombie animator, and then the first thing I want to do is to remove all of these transitions here, except for the one from the entry and the idle. So our starting animation is the idle animation, and I guess I will use the run animation and make a new transition and a transition back. And let's create a new bool called is chasing. Okay, and then make sure to uncheck has exit time, and then let's add here is chasing, and then for the transition back make sure to uncheck has exit time as well, and then is chasing set to false. Okay, then inside the script itself, let's create or grab the animator. Here is the anim get component animator, and then inside the update function, what we can do is we can say, for example, if the NavAgent speed is greater than 0, we want to do something. In this case, play or set the bool inside our anim is chasing to true. Okay. And if that's not the case, if we are 0 or below 0, whatever other way we have there, we want to set this to false. Alright. So with that, our zombie should already play the running animation, and it will play it all the time, because right now all our zombie can do is just literally chase us. So if I move back now, there you go. As you can see, our zombie's not playing the running animation. Alright. I guess I will also increase the speed from 3.5 to 6. So let's test this out quickly to see how it looks. Okay, much better. And then we also have a problem right now, and that is that our zombie is just walking through us. Okay, so if we check out our scene, you see in fact our zombie is just right inside of us. Okay, so that's something we don't want. So we need to set up the stopping distance. As you can see, it's currently at 0, so that's why that's happening. And I guess 3.5 will be a good value. And again, as you can see, it's pretty much straightforward with the NavMeshAgent. It's pretty awesome how easily we can do all of that stuff. And yeah, 3.5 is a great value, I think. All right, that looks already good to me. I will save everything again. And then let's make sure to add here the house script to our zombie. Okay. And the next thing I want to do is inside the health scripts, I added here, by the way, also a public static health instance, and I said private void awake, and again instance, if instance is nil, do that. Okay, just make sure to add this as well. Simply retype that, and then inside the enemy script, I will say if enemy or if health instance current health is greater than 0, do all of that stuff here. But if it's less or equal to 0, we don't want our NavAgent to chase us anymore, and we also want to stop playing any animation. And inside the shooting script, I added here inside the shoot function, I changed the damage from 50. Actually, I can just add here again 50. So with that, we only need 2 shots to kill the zombie, basically. So now the only thing that we need to do to make this finally work is to add here also a collider. Okay, because right now if I just hit play, you will see that even though we have added all the logic and the health script and things like that, our zombie will not stop chasing us. Okay, we don't deal any damage, and that's because we need to attach a collider to it. So I will say capture collider, and then let's head over to scene, and then we need to adjust this here a little bit. So let's increase the height, something like that. All right, and now if I shoot the zombie 2 times, the zombie should stop chasing us and it should disappear after 1 frame. So 1, 2, and there we go. It stopped chasing us, and at the same time it disappeared. Awesome. Okay, now the next thing I want to do is to just duplicate these zombies here so that we have a few zombies chasing us, like so, and then I will hit play. And there we go. All of these zombies are chasing us. And I can shoot them and they will stop chasing me. Okay. Now let's also randomize the speed to make this look a little bit more realistic. So inside actually inside the enemy script, I would just say private float random speed, and inside the start function I would say random speed equals to random range, and here we will add the value of 1, I guess, and maybe 8, and then I will set the NavAgent speed to the random speed. So with that, each of our zombies should have a unique own speed value between 1 and 8. So let's just check out if everything works. Okay, seems like they are walking. Seems like they're walking at a different speed now, or running at a different speed. So let me pause that quickly. So the zombie number 6 has a speed value of 5. The zombie number 5 has a speed value of 7. 4 as well. 3 has a speed value of 3, and so on. So our code is working. They run now all at a different speed. Okay. And I guess the only thing I will change here before I finally wrap up this lesson is to set inside the have script the destroy timer. We can do this actually inside our Unity editor, since we have created for that a serialized field. So I will create here on zombie. Let's remove all of them except for the first one, and then here inside the have script, let's set the destroy timer to 0.1 to make this look a little bit more realistic, because 1 frame is quite a long time. Okay, there we go. So to make this episode not too long, I will wrap it up here. As always, I will save everything. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. In the next episode, which will be, I guess, the final episode of this series, is we will add basically the kill animation. So right now our enemy is just disappearing. So it would be nice to use maybe before the zombie disappears, the falling forwards or falling backwards animation. And then I guess we will also add a small attacking system, because right now our zombies can chase us, but once they have reached us, they don't do anything. Okay, so it would be also nice if they could do some damage. And then once we will have finished all of that, we will be then completely finished with this project. I hope you guys enjoyed. As always, make sure to like it, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and as always, thanks for watching and see you maybe next time. Bye.